snow crisis, as the Minister mentioned, affected much of the north, and in particular my own constituency of North Antrim at the start of the year. Now, at that time, the Department provided a lot of support, which was appreciated, and also some Irish and British helicopter support as well. And now that some time has elapsed, can the Minister confirm how much that support has cost us?
Yes, as the member has rightly said, during the heavy snow we needed, very much needed, the assistance of both the British Ministry of Defence and the Irish Air Corp. And at my request they did come in and provide that helicopter support, which allowed us to get that much needed fodder into hills and into very hard to reach areas. And I'm pleased, that they were both quite happy to come forward with that support. At this moment in time, I am pleased to confirm that the Irish Government have said that they are not going to ask for any reimbursement for the cost of their helicopters. However, we do have in receipt in the Department a bill in the region of £640,000 from the British MOD.
Call Mr Mackay for supplementary.
I'll ask Collier, and I think that is a significant cost to the DARD budget. Can I ask the Minister, given that the British MOD do charge in such circumstances, would she consider for future planning only availing of resources where costs are waived, especially in humanitarian circumstances such as this?
Well, I think it was an emergency situation. The use of the helicopters was an absolute must, and something that was very positively welcomed by the farming community, and it was a necessary lifeline to be able to get feed to livestock. I think obviously the fact helicopters run the helicopter costs money, but given the fact that we have a bill now in the Department for £640,000 is something that would make you think in future, if you did need support, where you would look for that help. So that's something that I'm happy to confirm to the member that I'm actually challenging that with the British MOD. I have written to them and asked them to waive it, given the fact that it was a difficult situation, it was an emergency situation, and in future if we were found ourselves in that situation, and hopefully we won't, but if we happen to find ourselves in that situation again, obviously cost would be a factor in what services we would deploy.
Well, Mr Declan McAleer.
Given that the British Government didn't decide to seek additional EU funding for Pillar 2, what are the implications for the development programme here?
Well, I've said repeatedly from the start that I've been disappointed that the British Government went to the negotiating table whenever it came to the overall EU budget with a negative view, with calling for a reduced budget. That was something that was actually discussed in Westminster, and parties in the opposite benches also agreed with that position. So to ask for that reduced budget. That being said, we don't have a final settlement yet in terms of the rural development budget, but we are of the view that it will be a reduced budget, and we're facing a reduction of somewhere around about I think it's about 22%. So that's an issue. That's going to be an issue for us in the time ahead. And I suppose in terms of the implications for that, we need to be very effective about how we design our new programme, how we spend the reduced budget. Obviously, there are a number of needs in the industry, and we have environmental needs, we've got rural communities who have needs, so we need to be very effective about how we spend the new budget. And as I said earlier, we're out to consultation at this moment in time, and I really want to hear views from as many people as possible who have had experience with the rural development programme, who know the benefits of it, who know areas where things can be improved, and I'm happy to take a look at all of that in the round.
Call Mr McAleer for supplementary.
Does the Minister envisage that under the new programme there will be rural community-based organisations which provide basic services, that will be included in the new programme?
Yes, I think the approach to date has been very good. I think the bottom-up approach that communities coming forward with the ideas that they have and asking for supports for ideas that they have, I think is the best way to do business. It's the best way to effectively spend the rural development programme. I welcome, in terms of moving forward, some of the priorities that the EU have identified, particularly around tackling poverty. That's something that I'm very keen to make sure that we're able to bring something forward around that area. Also around new areas of support, particularly around R&D, so research, development and innovation funding is all very helpful, particularly if we're looking towards a more competitive and balanced food chain. So there are a number of areas that we need to be working on. As I said, the consultation is out at this moment in time, and I want to hear the views. I think that There are a number of excellent successes that we can point to, particularly in terms of the strategic projects. There's been some excellent projects, I think, that I've visited, particularly over the summer when I've had a chance to get out and about. If we're serious about sustaining rural communities, about creating thriving rural communities, then the Rural Development Programme has to deliver for that rural community in its entirety.
Call Ms Bronwyn McGann.
Can I ask the Minister how successful was her recent trip to China?
Yes, I just returned on Saturday evening. I was there last week. I was there at the invitation of the Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries, and it was a very effective visit. I was guest speaker at the 4th Sino-Euro Agricultural Conference, and that was my primary reason for the visit. But also, when I was there, I took the opportunity to secure meetings with those in government that are charged with processing export certificates, and particularly in relation to pork. That was obviously something that was very important that we were able to get that meeting. And also it afforded me the opportunity to enhance the links that we've already created with China. So a very useful visit, I have to say.
Ms McGahan for a supplementary.
I thank the Minister for her response. Can I ask the Minister, does she think that these trips and the context that she makes whilst there are useful?
Yeah, absolutely I do. I mean, at the recent Balmoral show, one of the things that industry are calling for is that the executive actually get involved in these trips, that they're actually going out, that we're seeking business, that we're building relationships, that we're enhancing relationships that currently exist. And for me, this trip was another part of that. I think one of the most successful things or aspects to the trip was the fact that the Chinese government are now going to prioritise our export certificate for pork, and that's something that the pork industry have been calling for. So for me, that's been a very much an effective outcome to the trip. Also, as part of the keynote speech, which was over 100 delegates from right across Europe, so we were able to make relations across Europe, but also with the Chinese government themselves. And I was able to very clearly put out the message that we have high standards of traceability, that we have fantastic food safety, that we've got wholesomeness of our agri-food industry. So to me, that was all very beneficial. And as I said, that also helped us to build on the links that OFM-DFM commenced last year on the visit to China. So the Chinese are very much into to building relationships. They're very much into enhancing relationships, and that's how they do business, and that's how we're going to get into that market.